looked Methodist, was expected to be there. So, of course, the Methodists were happy at Mr. Cudahy's release and quoted Psalm 146 and 47. "The Lord looseth the prisoners." The Holy Rollers, on the other hand, were unhappy and quoted 1 Kings 27. "Put this fellow in prison, and feed him with the bread of affliction and the water of affliction." The cause of the opposing points of view was not so much a matter of doctrine as just the plain fact that Mr. Cudahy was important to the Methodists. Mr. Cudahy was the Methodists' ace in the hole, and, while he did not attend church regularly, or add to the collection plate to any great degree, he did contribute each year by coming forward to be redeemed at revival. Don't think for a minute Mr. Cudahy didn't take being saved or redempted seriously. It's just that his redemption wouldn't stick. It always seemed to fade about as quick as red dye in a cheap shirt. Even so, there seemed to be no end to the man's endurance for going down to the altar and explaining to God, the apostles, or anyone else who cared to listen, just how bad he had been and just how downright sorry he was about it. Although the Holy Rollers cried foul, Mr. Cudahy could be counted on to backslide several times during revival week. But each time he was saved again, and, of course, every time he was saved, the Methodists counted it as a new conversion and recorded his redemption on the big sign in front of the church. This year, Reverend Mr. Williard, who appeared to be the heavy artillery on the Methodist revival circuit, was coming at the request of the district superintendent to smear the Holy Rollers. My Uncle Greg had caused a few chipped dentures from mouths snapping shut when he became excited at the official board meeting and announced that, "This congregation and I in particular am tired of sucking hind tit when compared to the Holy Rollers. With the help of the man upstairs and Reverend Williard, things are going to be different this year." I don't mean to make it sound as if either the backsliding or the being saved came easy for Mr. Cudahy. It wasn't as though he just pulled on his clothes in the morning and said, "Well, this is Tuesday. I guess I'll backslide," and then looked at the calendar and thought, "Yep, I'd better, 'cause tomorrow's Wednesday and I have to go get saved." It was as if every day were a wrench for him. Dad mentioned he had heard that sometimes Mr. Cudahy would actually cry when he went to the bootleggers. But he also reported when Mr. Cudahy was swinging in the other direction, he would cry even more. All things considered, only a fool would go to the altar with Mr. Cudahy and not take galoshes. The Williamsons, who were the only Unitarians in town, would be encouraged to be at the revival, and so would Mrs. Porter, who was legally a Presbyterian. But Mose Washington and his new wife, the only Negroes in town, would not be invited because, as my Uncle Greg reasoned, winning isn't everything. Nobody could make Dad shake his head in disgust, like Uncle Greg. My grandparents always came from Mound City to spend revival week with us. They were Methodists, too, although my mom's mother had been raised a hard-shell Baptist. As my dad understood it, Grandma and Grandpa had a sort of prenuptial agreement that when they married she would convert to the true faith. The summer started off looking pretty good, what with the revival and a visit from my grandparents. True, I was grounded for the D- in arithmetic, but I was already wearing thin on my mom's nerves. So when my best friend Jack came by in the afternoon, she was quite pleased to see her way clear to observe that, since he had gotten a B in arithmetic on his last day of school report card, he would be a good influence on me. Jack, my dog Johnson, and I started walking toward the highway. We weren't going anywhere in particular, just far enough away from the house to start on the pack of Luckies Jack had stolen from his father. Just before we reached the highway, we turned and meandered up the alley in back of Mary Alice Westrick's house. That was when I saw a girl's breasts.